conference this year where it's going to go under the radar just because everybody thinks it's more of a basketball conference. But this year, I think the football is really going to stand out in the Big East Conference this year. You got teams like Louisville, who they're a very young team, but they're also very talented. And the fact that they're one of the youngest, they are the youngest team in the Big East Conference, but their talent and their upside is so tremendous that they're one of those teams to me this year that they can finish second or win this conference, but they could also finish dead last or second to last, just due to the fact that they're very young, but also they're talented and they have the best upside. But I really like their running back situation. I love Victor Anderson, very great. I think he's a very great running back, really under the radar this year, due to mainly because his junior and sophomore year he was hurt. His freshman year, he was a beast. 1,000 yards rushing, almost 5 yards a carry, 8 touchdowns, and I really think that he's one of those players where he can help the quarterback, whoever the quarterback is going to be. Will it either be Will Stein or will it be Teddy Bridgewater? He's going to definitely help them because he can help bring a balance to that little spread look that they're really trying to run over there. Bringing on to the quarterback situation, like I said, it's between Will Smith or Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater is the more talented, highly touted freshman coming in from Miami. Charlie Strong's really recruiting the Miami area, South Florida, really well. And the thing is, do we go after a guy who has the experience in Will Stein, who's ran your system for a year or a year and a half, or do you go for taking your lumps with the freshman and helping him go through the learning process and the maturing process throughout the season? And that's one of the same things that are going to really happen in Louisville. They lost a lot of leadership last year, no doubt about it. A lot of leadership last year. A couple guys went to the NFL, seniors, a lot of guys graduated. But this is a team that really intrigues me. I love them defensively. They're really young, but they're fast as can be defensively. The fastest defense in the league by far. Like I said, Charlie Strong would love to recruit the Florida area, and that's what he's going to be doing. Players to watch out this year, I think, for Louisville would definitely be Michael Lee Harris. He's a playmaker, a wide receiver. He's going to be a redshirt freshman. I think Teddy Bridgewater, if he becomes a starter. Eli Rogers, freshman this year, coming in. I want to see what he can do. He might redshirt, a little small, but he's one of those guys who has a swagger that Charlie Strong's like, but he feels like he's the best player out there on the field, and he can bring that confidence to a team like that. Also on the defensive side, Hakeem Smith, last year Player of the Year, freshman wise, coming in. He was a freshman Player of the Year in the Big East, and I think that he'll be the leader of that defense, and I hope that defense make plays. Cincinnati has, once I said, Big East Conference. They have great offensive players. They have very good quarterback, Zach Collaros. I love him. He was a quarterback 2 years ago who helped carry Cincinnati into the Sugar Bowl when Tony Pike broke his arm. Very good, very good quarterback. I love Isaiah P., the running back, 1,000-yard running back last year. He'll help bring a little balance once again to their spread out look. I like DJ Woods as a wide receiver. The one thing I really don't love their offensive line. Their offensive line is one of the worst in the league. Also offensively, a little bit too sloppy, turnovers and penalties. I really don't like that in this team. For a team that's really mature and has a lot of leadership, I really expect something different this year. Going up this year, they cut those down. I don't love their defense. They need to upgrade their talent on defense. They're not going to be able to compete, I think, this year because their defense is really not up to par with the offense they're going to be going against this year. West Virginia era, the media picked them to win the Big East this year. They have a great quarterback in Geno Smith, Heisman candidate. Dana Holgerson's going to love him. Very underrated passer. I like his athleticism. He's very accurate, which I like. Unlike other West Virginia quarterbacks, he's probably the most accurate West Virginia quarterback that's come through, I'd say, probably since Mark Bolger. I want to know what they're going to do with their running back situation. The running back situation is kind of iffy. They don't have a lot of depth. They lost Noah Devine last year, one of the best running backs to ever come through that school. And I want to see how they use their one top playmaker, Tevin Austin. I want to see how they use him in the run game? Will they using like a Percy Harvin where he motions into the backfield, or he does a little bit of motion, little jet sweep here, or a little bubble screen, just to keep use that as their quote unquote running game? I want to see how they do with that. The offensive line is new and inexperienced at the same time, but they lost their best offensive lineman, Josh Jenkins. Very, very good. I think he'll probably end up being a late first rounder, probably a second round pick in the NFL draft whenever he goes out. That's really a big loss for them. I like their defense. One of the nation's best pass rushers, and Bruce Irvin, 14 sacks last year. He's the leading returning sack guy. Keith Tandy, cornerback, led the Big East last year in interception. I expect him to improve, help this team a lot more. They definitely have a hole to fill in their middle linebacker position. I want to see who they fill for there. But I love the depth that they have at the secondary position, especially at safety. They got a couple guys that I like. I like Travis Bell, safety. I think he's going to be very good. His coverage skills is good. Another South Florida guy. I like him. One player to keep a watch out for on the offensive side, Ivan McCartney. He's a redshirt freshman out of the Miami area. Great wide receiver. He was a high-touted freshman, 4-star freshman. He definitely has players in front of him. He has Bradley Starks in front of him, and Stedman Bellamy in front of him. But I think he can get into that rotation because Coach Dana Holgorsen runs that pass rate. He loves to throw the ball a lot. I want to see how this team responds, though, after having the whole controversy with former head coach Bill Stewart and Dana Holgorsen. I just want to see how this team responds, and due to the speed up process, how Holgorsen was supposed to be the head coach next year, but now he's this. I want to see how they do that sped up. But I think they're a great team, one of the best teams in the league. South Florida is a team that's really I really like. They have a bit of a quarterback controversy. BJ Daniels, who's the more experienced guy, he's the more athletic guy. But I think Bobby Evans, who played great towards the at the end of the stretch, is really a guy for Skip Holtz's system. He's the system guy that they want to involve. He was a freshman last year, step up, so he's gonna push BJ Daniels. But I think BJ Daniels edges him out. But I think he has a really short leash because he's so good. I love their depth at running back. Demarius Murray, Daryl Scott. Daryl Scott, I think, is going to be a stud at running back. Former 5-star power back. I love this defense. I love their front seven. They're returning 2 tacklers from last year, Sam Barrington and D.D. Lattimore. At linebacker, they're going to find another linebacker to replace Williams, who they lost last year to the draft. I love their up the middle. I love Todd Chandler. I think he was going to be a stud redshirt freshman. He's going to be in a D-tackle rotation with Corey Gresham and Keith McCaskill. I like him. I think the next star, one of the future star premier pass rushers in the whole country, Ryne Giddens, redshirt freshman, is going to be a star, a complete stud for South Florida if they can turn him loose and he stays healthy. The one thing about South Florida, I want to see how their wide receivers step up. They had a lot of talent wide receiver last year, and they didn't really step up. So I want to see how these guys really step up. They have the talent. I just want to see them take that next level of becoming better players. Syracuse, they're under the radar team. They're my dark horse pick to win it. I like their quarterback, Ryan Nass. He needs to step up this year. I think he's a good quarterback going on to their future that I could see them going with. I love Antoine Bailey. Bailey's going to be good. They're going to have they have the best offensive line in the whole Big East. I love that. Their lack of depth at the running back position is really got me shaky, because I want to see, just in case if Antoine Bailey goes down, I want to see who's going to be the next guy to step up for them. They returned their top 3 pass catchers this year, with Van Chu leading the team in receptions last year. He's coming back. But the one guy I really like out of this is Nick Provo. He's a pass-catching tight end. He could stretch the field. He could be a safety valve for Nesbitt when it comes to rollouts. Doug Moreau likes to roll out his quarterbacks a lot. I want to see what he does there. Defensive-wise, Todd Chandler, I think they're good. I think he's really good. He can really turn up this year and be a first team Big East guy. Last year, second team Big East. I like to say that they will turn him loose more this year. He had four sacks last year. I think he's a guy who could potentially be a double-digit sack guy for this team. Safety positions, I love what they have as safety positions. They have 2 NFL players in Samarco Thomas and Phil Thomas, who are very good ball hawking safeties. I like the way they're really constructed back there in the secondary. Rutgers is a really intriguing team because they have the best offensive skill players in the whole conference. They have guys like Muhammad Son. They have DC Jefferson at tight end. Son at wide receiver. Joe Marikic at running back. They have the highly touted freshman coming in, Savon Huggins, highly touted running back. You have a 6'3", 230-pound wide receiver who runs a 4.3, and Mark Harrison. He's a freak, but their success really determines on how Chase Dodd does, because it's Dodd or bust for Rutgers. If he plays great, they're going to be in a lot of games this year. But if he plays poorly, they're probably going to have 4 wins max on the year. They don't have talent, or they don't really have the depth or the talent at quarterback. Their offensive line is horrid, in my opinion. They need to definitely revamp that. And their defense is really, those are the 2 weak links on that team. They have a really bad defense. They got to upgrade talent. But I think the one story that they have is really intriguing is Eric LeGrand. Everybody knows the story. He was tragically paralyzed in the Army game, and maybe he's one of those guys that inspiration that leads this team and inspires this team a little bit more. Great story. Hope he gets well soon, Eric. Hope you will definitely walk again. God is always with you on your side. I just want to let him give him a little shout out on that one. Pitt, I love Pitt. They're changing their style though from a pro style to a power eye look to more of a spread, crazy, tossing the ball around, motion here, motion there, spread look. Ty Graham's coming in, replacing Dave Wannstedt. They have the best tandem of running backs, I think, in the Big East. Ray Graham, who's a 1,000-yard, who's a good player, who really stood out last year over Dion Lewis, and Zach Brown, the former Wisconsin running back who transferred in for his last year. I think Zach Brown can definitely help pass blocking wise, and he can definitely run in between the tackles and bring that power run game where Graham is a power run game, but he can bounce, so he's more of an outside type of running guy. They lost a lot of talent offensively, but I think Mike Shanahan could end up being the best receiver in the whole conference due to the fact that he's 6'5", big target. They're going to be he's going to get targeted a lot. But Tino Sorensen is definitely going to be the guy that I think he has to step up. If he becomes a great addition, great talent, and improves dramatically with his decision making and his accuracy, he could take this team and probably make this team the second best team, or even actually win the Big East this year. I think their defense is really underrated. They might have, in my opinion, they have the best defense. They have a lot of speed. They have a lot of talent. I love their, even though they lost a couple guys on the defensive line to the draft, I think they have the talent defensively. They're replenished. They got speed back there in the secondary. Linebacker speed is ridiculous. Is really good. I just want to see how this team progresses, but I think Sorensen, the quarterback, is the guy who's going to make this team go. UConn is, I want to see how UConn responds to being Big East champs last year, then Randy Edsall going to take the Maryland job. How they respond to Paul Pasqualoni. I want to see how they do that. Look out for DJ Shoemate, USC transfer. I like him a lot. Their quarterback situation. They have 4 quarterbacks competing for the starting job this year, fall camp. Lost a